West Ham United are close to completing their third major summer transfer window signing in Flynn Downes from Swansea City. The 23-year-old defensive midfielder is undergoing his medical today ahead of his £9 million move to the London Stadium. Could rise to £12 million, depending if all clauses are met. And a lifelong hammer as well. That always helps, doesn't it? So, who is Flynn Downes? Well, actually, before we get on to that, can I just say, we didn't see this one coming, did we? There was no mention of him anywhere. Then suddenly yesterday afternoon, bam, West Ham have interest in Flynn Downes. And even when that came out, I was a little bit hesitant to believe it. Despite the source being Athletic, a good source, I thought, well, because he was on his way to Crystal Palace. Everybody just assumed he was going to become a Crystal Palace player. And it made sense looking at it. We know Crystal Palace are trying to hoover up the young talent. We know Patrick Vieira will give them a chance at Selhurst Park. So the move for Downes to go from Swansea to Palace just made sense. So it was expected he was going to go there. So the interest came out late yesterday afternoon. I was like, alright, interesting. And that's all it was as far as I was concerned. But it suddenly escalated really quickly, didn't it? It went from interest to actually West Ham have agreed a deal with Swansea for up to £12 million. Okay. And then it was, actually, the medical's booked in. Then late last night, it was, actually, he's already done the first part of his medical. So yesterday, there was nothing. Last night, when I went to sleep, he'd already done the first half of his medical. Now, I'm sure the deal is moving quick because of the Crystal Palace thing. But this will have been in the pipeline for the last few days as well. There's no way we just agreed something with Swansea yesterday afternoon, and by yesterday evening, he'd done the first half of his medical. So this has been in the pipeline for a few days. We just hadn't heard of it. A bit like the Mark Warburton thing. We'll speak about him later on. A bit like when Mark Warburton came and joined us as assistant coach. There was just nothing, not even a whisper. So it's good, it's reassuring that we can get deals done away from the public domain, that we can crack on with our business, that people don't know, it doesn't get leaked, and there's a bit of a surprise element to it. I have to say, I really enjoy it. Now, obviously, it has been leaked before the club, because the club haven't put out that we're signing Flynn Downes. It's been leaked. But it's at such a late stage, it doesn't really matter now, does it? He's going to be a West Ham United player. Happy days. So, I must confess, when I was thinking about Flynn Downes, the player yesterday, I thought this is a good signing. This is a good player. I like this. I like the idea of him, and I like the idea of a defensive midfielder. We'll get on to reasons why in a minute. But then I started reading all the Swansea City fans' comments, and I'll be honest, I will confess, I've got really excited. Swansea City fans are guilty of making me even more excited for signing Flynn Downes, because they're just full of praise for him. There's not one angry person. Everybody's wishing him the best of luck, wishing West Ham the best of luck. They get why he wants to move. They're adamant he's ready for the Premier League, that he will step up to the Premier League and be a success. A lot of them are convinced he's going to go on and play for England as well. So they've got me excited, because he's only been there for a season. So to arrive and to make that impression on a set of fans in such a short space of time, and then essentially he's used them as a stepping stone. He's gone to Swansea, and after a year he's heading to the Premier League. So he's used them as a stepping stone. But there's nothing, there's no jealousy, there's no spitefulness from the Swansea fans. They're all wishing him the best of luck, and they completely get it. To leave that impression on a set of fans, I think speaks volumes about Downes as a person and as a player as well. But let's discuss the player, shall we? So, a traditional defensive midfielder, not a box-to-box or anything like that. Somebody that likes to sit in front of the back four, break up the play, and his major strengths are as a defensive midfielder. Can play in a back three as well, so that's helpful. Just like him being homegrown, that's helpful, isn't it? It's always nice when they can do stuff like that. And when he counts as the homegrown quota, that's a relief. A really good age, 23 years of age, plenty of experience as well. We've been tracking him for a long time. We tried, yeah, we did try and sign him when he was at Ipswich, but we had him on trial when he was at Ipswich Town as well. So we've been linked to him quite a bit. And if you sort of have a look at sort of his links to West Ham in regards to transfer rumours, he's been linked to us before. A bit like Nath Aguerd, where last year we were actually linked to Aguerd, but just a bit sporadically, so you didn't read too much into it. If anything, you dismiss it and think, I don't believe it. And this has got an element of that to it as well. So it gives me reassurances that we've been tracking his progress, well, since his Ipswich Town days. And then at Swansea, and we've decided that actually there's a guy that can make it Premier League. We'll keep an eye on him. Crystal Palace have gone in, done all the legwork with the deal, and we've gone in at the 11th hour and said, we'll have that, we'll have him, thank you very much, he supports us, we've got European football, he's coming to West Ham United. So we've almost just muscled in on Crystal Palace's deal and pinched him. But back to him as a player, really strong in the tackle. Now I have two concerns, one of them which has been eliminated already, but then that was, is he ready to step up to the Premier League? He's only just arrived in the Championship, so can he then step up so quick, or does he need another year or two in the Championship to get ready for the move to the Premier League? But because of Swansea City fans, it's gone. My worry has disappeared already. My second one, which does remain, and if anything, has only been heightened because of Swansea City fans, he's a bit ill-disciplined. Very tough in the tackle, does not mind a crunchy tackle, which is good when it works. When the tackle works, fantastic. I love to see a good old-fashioned tackle in the Premier League, so happy days. But when it goes wrong, more often than not, he's going to get a booking for it, because he is going to ground, he is sliding in with a little bit of force behind it as well. A nice tough tackle when it works, but when it goes wrong, it's a bit of a, that's a yellow card kind of thing. Picked up loads of yellow cards for Swansea. I think he got sent off last season as well. So that's something that needs reined in, because in theory he's picked up those bookings in the Championship against lesser opposition. So how's he going to get on up against potentially world-class number 10s essentially? So how is he going to get on against them? So that's something that concerns me slightly. So he's going to need reined in a little bit. But we've all seen those passing stats in the last 24 hours, haven't we? Number 1 out of all the midfielders in the 92 English clubs last season. He was the top for pass success completion rate. Now, Declan Rice was number 3. Rodri was number 2. Number 4, Matt Grimes, his partner at Swansea City. Now that's a compliment, and that displays just how good Swansea City are at playing football. Russell Martin's got them playing some really nice football, but I think that helps him. I think that probably goes in his favour, getting ready for a stint in the Premier League. Actually, the fact that he seized the ball so much last season, that he's been put under pressure from pressing teams. They played Southampton as well, and he was fine. He did fine against Southampton. His numbers against Southampton were thoroughly impressive as well. So all that is going in his favour. Now, he's not the most creative player in the world. I must confess, obviously Swansea fans have seen him more. I've seen Swansea enough last season, but not loads. I've seen them when they're on TV. I enjoy watching them because of the football that they play. So I have an opinion of him, just not as detailed as Swansea fans. But if you were to ask me to summarise his passing, I would suggest that it's safe to some extent, but he doesn't mind that pass into the final third. But in terms of unlocking the defence or anything like that, I've not really seen enough of it. I've seen some Swansea fans saying that he can pick a pass and stuff, but I do wonder about the context of that. Well, what does that mean? Is he pinging it over the top for someone to run in and score, or is he the one, for example, if he was at West Ham, is he the one giving it to Jared Bowen to go on and create something further up the pitch? Never goes hiding. Whenever you watch Swansea, him and Grimes, I would say that whenever the Swansea defence has the ball, they're always available, they're always looking to get the ball, even if there's someone right behind him. It's a bit similar to the way that Declan Rice plays with Martin Noble and Manuel Lanzini, that if Lanzini's got a player behind him, Rice trusts him. Rice basically says, there you go, have the ball, because I know you'll take one touch and pass it at the most. You might even give it back to me straight away, but 2 touches at the most, you'll get out your feet. Martin Noble is a bit like that with Declan Rice as well. And Rice isn't like that with, say, Thomas Souček or Pablo Fornals or whatever. If there's a player behind them, Rice hesitates a little bit and thinks, well, I'm not going to give you the ball because there's someone behind you that's going to pinch it. But he doesn't really have that fear with Lanzini. Certainly that's how I feel when I watch West Ham play. Downes is one of those players that will go short to get the ball and say, give it to me, I don't care about him behind me, give it to me, I'm good enough to get the ball and pass it straight away. A really good signing. Now I'm pleased to see us go after a defensive midfielder, because when we were linked to the likes of James Ward-Prowse, even Amadou Onana, box-to-box midfielder, I thought, well, what is the plan here? Are we going to play a box-to-box midfielder alongside Declan Rice? And then what? It's sort of like the issues that we had last season would carry on to this one. Now, obviously those players like Ward-Prowse are far better on the ball than Thomas Souček, but in terms of their playing style, how they like to get forward and stuff, Ward-Prowse does well with Romeo, a defensive midfielder next to him. So I had concerns over sort of the makeup of the midfield, and I'm encouraged by the fact that we're going after a traditional defensive midfielder, somebody that will let Declan Rice get forward And I've seen people saying, I wonder if he's a Declan Rice replacement. Well, I don't see him as that. I see him as somebody to play alongside Declan. And I hope he's somebody that can play alongside Thomas Souček as well. In a 3, if you like. And I do wonder if we're going to see a slight switch of how we play. We've obviously struggled to get in Lingard or an alternative to Jesse Lingard. I do wonder if we're going to say, right, well, let's just, the way that we play, we will evolve next season. We'll put Downes in there in front of the defence, and ahead of him we're going to have Rice and Souček. We can also play Lanzini in that role as well. We've seen Lanzini do that role plenty last season. Fornals is capable of playing that role too. So I do wonder if we're going to see a slight change in formation, with Downes being quite pivotal as a defensive midfielder. And I hope that's what we see, because I'd like to see Souček 10-15 yards up the pitch next season. I don't want him to leave. I think he's a damn good player, but I think he's been exposed for his lack of ability on the ball. That's something that Downes certainly isn't lacking. That's his strength. His strength is in possession, as well as his tackling and breaking up play. Like I said, he's got his weaknesses. I've already spoken about them. So, good signing, really good signing. And I'm excited by it as well, mainly because of the Swansea City fans. They've got me excited. Now, Mark Warburton, I just wanted to quickly discuss him. And this is where it gets interesting, but I don't mind it. We spoke about it. I did a cup of tea last night with Gonzo. First one for a while, so you haven't seen it, do go check it out. Enjoy it. I always enjoy doing a cup of tea. But last night we spoke about it before. I think I mentioned it when we appointed Mark Warburton. I did a video about it. I'm sure I mentioned it in there, but I could be wrong, because sometimes I get confused about what I mention on the videos and what I mention for patrons. But I certainly mentioned this to the patrons as soon as Warburton signed. It was a case of keep an eye out for us signing players from Mark Warburton's daughter's agency. His daughter, Alicia, she is Wasserman. I think that's how you pronounce it. Wasserman. She's quite high up by the sounds of it at that agency. And I think there was a tendency from QPR fans, a few QPR fans and a few Rangers fans were a bit wary of a couple of signings they made because of their connections to this agency. And lo and behold, our first signing since Warburton has joined the club is somebody that is at the agency of Mark Warburton's daughter. Now, I don't see this as an issue. The reason being is because it's going to be difficult for Warburton to influence it as an assistant coach rather than the actual manager. And this one, I don't think we're signing him because of Mark Warburton. We might know about the deal between Crystal Palace and Swansea because of Warburton, but I don't think it's the reason we're going after him. We've been tracking him for at least a couple of seasons, long before Warburton was anywhere near the football club. So it's just an interesting dynamic, if you like, regarding the transfer, and an encouraging one to some extent. There's some players, if you have a look at that agency's list of players, including Sarr of Watford, they've got a lot of real good players on there as well. So if we were able to tap into it, and that's all, just tap into it, it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. I'm really happy about this transfer. I think it's risk-free. He comes, he works out, happy days. We've signed a midfielder that's good enough for the Premier League for 9 million, which is really cheap in this day and age. One good season in the Premier League is worth 30 million. If he doesn't work out next season for whatever reason, you could probably sell him and get your £9 million back. Obviously, the fee would stay at 9, wouldn't rise to the 12. The clauses would be met, you would assume. But any other club in the Championship the season after next, so in 12 months' time, they'd be looking at someone like Flynn Downes, 24 years of age he would be, think, well, that's a top Championship midfielder. He's worth paying 9 million for to get him down to this level. There's money in the Championship these days, so I see this as a risk-free transfer actually. It either works, happy days, or it doesn't. We can get rid of him, get our money back in, and go again. I like to see us dive into the Championship actually. I like to see us giving young players a chance from the Championship, because you've got to make yourself appealing to the next generation of players. In a year's time, this is guaranteed, in 12 months' time, there will be 3 or 4 players who really have a breakthrough season in the Championship this coming season. You want to be an attractive club to those. Crystal Palace are. We, to some extent, are because of the likes of Jared Bowen, but bringing in somebody like Flynn Downes only just reiterates that point, which is we at West Ham will give you the chance. If you're excelling in Championship, you want in the Premier League, West Ham come knocking, you better answer the door, because we're going to give you an opportunity here at the London Stadium. Anyway, last thing, number 16. It's got to be number 16, isn't it? It'd be a bit of pressure for him. But he's a West Ham United fan. He's got to have Mark Noble's number. Anyway, yes, happy days. So he should be announced hopefully later tonight or certainly tomorrow. Maybe we'll keep it for Monday. It's becoming a Monday thing at West Ham to announce new signings. But I'm going to disappear now. Let me know what you think of the transfer in the comments below. I'll be back later on, take a look at what you're all saying. But Flynn Downes is set to become West Ham's third major signing of the summer transfer window for $9 million from Swansea City. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel. I'll catch you in a bit.